Hello Sharks, welcome to a special interview brought to you by the radio and television production program here at Suffolk County Community College. I am your host Dylan Strickland. Before we get started, our guest today comes to us from Florida, but I am proud to say he's originally from Long Island. He has 20 years of experience in community college education, including service as a tenured faculty member and executive administrative leader. I would like to extend a warm welcome to our new college president, Dr. Edward Bonahue. Thank you for talking to us, Dr. Bonahue.
Thanks, Dylan. Appreciate it.
How was your commute here?
I live right around the corner from the college.
Oh, you do?
So I'm not doing any kind of long commute at all. It's been fine.
At least you didn't come in late. I know that even though people live close, they still end up being late here, so.
Right. No, everything is fine today. Today, everything went fine.
Okay, good. So let's get this started, shall we? So, Dr. Bonahue, when you think of the term community college, what's the first thing that comes to mind?
So thank you for your introduction. And I've been in community college education for close to 25 years. And I think the first thing that occurs to me when I think about it is student-centered, having a student-centered college experience. What that means is it's really not about a faculty member who's trying to publish their research. It's not about spoon-feeding students like maybe that was done in high school. It's about having a true college experience with high standards, but our passion as community college educators needs to be that we meet every student where they are, put them on a pathway to success, and be sure that we are supporting students on every step that you take on that path.
Now for our second question, what are some common misconceptions people hear about community college, and why do you think that is?
That's a great question. I think misconceptions about community college sometimes stem from the idea that a community college education is less than some other kind of college or university education, which is simply not true.
Yeah.
You know, and every student knows, the sacrifices that they've had to make to be a college student, the sacrifices that your families have made to be a college student, for you to be a college student. And I think those of us who are educators and who choose to be in community colleges, we recognize that you entrust us with your time, you entrust us with your future, and our passion, our goal, is to be sure that you have the best educational experience possible. So the misperception is that community college education is somehow something other than a true collegiate experience. But look at where we are today. We're in this terrific studio with wonderful equipment, wonderful faculty, a wonderful facility. Our passion is that your experience here in this program and with this studio and having this experience today will prepare you with exactly what you need to be a working professional. Whether your future means that you're going to go out to work or whether you're going to transfer to university. But our goal as educators is to give you the best preparation possible for your professional and academic futures. And I'll also say this. When we offer any college course, whether it is, it could be freshman English, but it could be accounting or calculus or organic chemistry. The reality, Dylan, is that the faculty have the same graduate degrees as the faculty at any university. And you're getting the same curriculum in calculus or accounting or chemistry as at any university. The difference is that you get to take it with faculty who know your name, who want to interact with you. You get to take it in a class of only 25 students as opposed to 250 students. And you get to take it at a fraction of the cost of what a university costs, whether it's a public or a private university. So what we need to do through programs like this is to re-educate our community about the value that Suffolk brings and be sure that everyone understands what it means to go to college. Yes, we are the community's college. We're dedicated to access, but our passion is to give you the best collegiate experience we can.
Well, I agree on your point about like community colleges being like frowned upon, but I don't see why, because we get such a great experience. I know like within this program, we're here now, like you said. I've got to go to so many places like during internships that I haven't, ventured out on the island myself.
Right.
And I know that when we fully open back up, other students and other majors could get that experience that I'm getting and that many others would want, so that they are prepared for the future.
Right. I think the misperception comes from the idea that we are open access. That is to say, we want any student and every student that needs a college education. The reality is that we are not open exit. So we're an open access community college, but because our standards are high, we're not open exit. Yes, our standards are high, but that's the reason that our goal is to support students at every step of the way.
Yeah, I feel like they do a really good job in doing so.
Good.
I've had many good professors.
Good.
And they've had experience also out in the field. So I know that my education from them is reliable and up to date.
Right.
As we're always changing things in the studio, and so that we're prepared.
The reality is that in the last 18 months during the pandemic, every student has had to learn new ways to work, and every faculty and staff member has had to learn new ways to work too. But what the pandemic has done has been to remind all educators that we need to be flexible, that we're going through things together. We're going through life together. Whether we have a family tragedy, whether we have illness in our family, whether folks in our family have lost work, lost a job, need more hours on the job. Those are all things that, in my view, higher education, and not just community colleges, but all of higher education, needs to take into consideration. I think the last 18 months have shown us that if we're truly committed to access, if we're truly committed to student success, we have to be sure that we have the kind of flexibility that allows us to support students no matter what is going on in their life.
I completely agree. Well, that brings us to our next question. This one will be a little more personal, but I'm sure students will love to know. What inspired you to get involved not only as an educator, but as a college president?
I never thought I would become a college president. I started as a faculty member. I have a degree in English, and I wrote a master's thesis in modern drama, and I wrote a doctoral dissertation in Renaissance literature. And so I was hired to teach theater and humanities at my previous college, Santa Fe College in Gainesville, Florida. And when I was hired, I had to unlearn some of the things that I thought I knew about college teaching. I had taught at the University of North Carolina when I was in graduate school, and I had taught at the University of Florida as a lecturer. And I probably was guilty of the things that some university professors are guilty of. I'd have a midterm exam, one term paper, and a final exam, and that's all you need. One of the things I learned is that the best kinds of instruction involve more communication between faculty and students, more opportunities for students to show what they can do, and for faculty to give feedback on student performance. So as a community college instructor, I had to learn more about how to restructure my classes in a way that facilitated student success more than just a midterm in week 7, a term paper in week 11, and a final in week 15. And I found that I could do that. I found that I enjoyed the communication. I found that I find that most students who attend community colleges, no matter where they are very motivated and very goal-oriented. And so my passion, of course, is to honor that motivation and to do everything I can to help students achieve those goals. So I served as a faculty member, I served as a department chair, and then as a dean and a provost. Provost means the chief academic officer, the person in a college or university who's responsible for aligning all the college's programs with the needs of students and the needs of the community. I served in that role for 12 years. And then a friend in the SUNY system was aware that Suffolk was having a presidential search. And he said, "You're from Suffolk County, right? Hey, you're from Suffolk County." He knew that I was looking for an opportunity, and he said, "There could be a really good opportunity for you at Suffolk." And so, again, I come from another very high-performing college, just like Suffolk. In Florida, we had a close relationship with the University of Florida, just like Suffolk does with Stony Brook and with other university partners. We put many people to work in the hospitals, in IT, in building construction, in media studies, just like here. And so it was a really good fit for someone from my background who had some familiarity with Suffolk County and also a lot of familiarity with the whole scope of Suffolk's programs and its mission.
Yeah, I say you're pretty well rounded. Yeah, since you've been bouncing all over the place.
Thank you.
During the early stages of the COVID-19 pandemic, students all over the country were sent home for remote instruction. Classrooms were empty. This year, Suffolk, like many other colleges, has a lot more face-to-face classes. What percentage of classes are face-to-face at Suffolk this semester, and what do you anticipate for spring 2022 semester?
That's a really good question. You know, the pandemic, as we talked about earlier, the pandemic has made every semester for the college a little bit different, right? I mean, in the spring of 2020, we all had to turn on a dime and work entirely remotely. By the fall of 20, spring of 21, we're finding new ways to work, a little more hybrid, a little more online. Finally, we have some classes coming back on campus. Over the summer, this past summer, we scheduled a 50-50 course schedule so that 50% of all instruction would be back on campus and 50% online. What we found, Dylan, was that probably for a variety of reasons, including the fact that the SUNY system gave us all a vaccination mandate at the very end of the summer. Also because the economy of Long Island is really charging along really strong right now, and anybody who wants a job out in the community can get a job. What we're finding right now is that although we scheduled a 50-50, 65% of our enrollment right now is in remote, what we call remote modalities. It could be traditional online or Zoom classes. And only 35% is back on campus. Looking forward, now students have had more time to get vaccinations. Our hope is that for the spring, we would like to flip that. We want to have more student activity on campus. With every student being vaccinated at this point, we want to have more activities on campus, be able to reopen the campus to everything that students get out of a true collegiate experience, whether it's athletics or the fine arts, the honors program, all of our great student clubs and student activities, student government, working in great facilities like this. We want students to have access to all of that back on campus. So we would be delighted in the spring, and our plan is to have more capacity for students on campus. Hopefully we'll be back at 60-40, 65-35, with a lot more activity on campus in the spring. That's what we're shooting for.
Okay, so what about fall of 2022?
Fall of 2022, great. Oh boy. You know, if historically, Suffolk has had a lot of traditional students, a lot of students between 18 and 22. And the ratio has been as high as 80-20, that 80% of all instruction is here on campus. Maybe there's 20% online for non-traditional students, working students, students who need to access education in that way. If we get back to that, that's fine. Most community colleges these days across the country are at something like 70-30, maybe 75, a traditional college like ours, maybe 75-25. But the reality for Suffolk County, Dylan, is that you and I know a lot of people probably who are working some 12-hour shifts. Maybe they need access to online education. So over the long term, I would like to see us be sure that we have a good balance between open access to on-campus classes and also some online classes where it's appropriate.
Well, it was nice to see everyone back on campus. It was like a ghost town.
Exactly.
Yeah, and there was actually
Exactly.
parking, but now I can't find parking.
No, over the summer, I started this job just at the very end of June and came on, and I remember walking up from the administration building up to the main quad right after July 4th, and I'm like, oh, there's no students here yet, or very few. And the fact that right after Labor Day we had thousands of students back on campus is terrific. Right now, Dylan, we have about, at all three Suffolk campuses, we have about 10,000 students taking classes on campus at one of those three locations.
That's very nice. Our final question of the day is an important one. Because of the pandemic, students have experienced or are still experiencing some type of hardship, a loss, economical difficulty, or issues related to mental health like isolation or depression. Do you have any words of encouragement for these students?
Oh yeah. Dylan, in my view, we've been through a national trauma. We've been through something that has touched virtually every family, every community, every neighborhood, not only in Suffolk County, but across the country. We all cope with trauma in different ways, or maybe we don't cope with trauma. My goal for Suffolk is that anytime a student is struggling, there shouldn't be any question of who they can turn to. Always start with a faculty member, and that faculty member will connect you with help. If you're not sure, every college has a student services dean. It's either Dean Reese, Dean Rogers, Dean Martinez here on this campus. And those student services office, those student affairs deans are the most compassionate people, and they know all the resources that Suffolk can bring to bear. Our counseling center is always open. If students are experiencing financial hardship or food insecurity, again, the campus deans can make suggestions about how to negotiate difficulties related to transportation, food insecurity, financial insecurity. The College Foundation last year had been very successful raising money for some small hardship loans or hardship grants, actually. And if there's a need for that, then we need to continue that. Fortunately, the federal stimulus also provided a lot of fund for supporting students who are encountering difficulties, and that continues this year. So I think we have a lot of supports in place for students, and our goal is that no need goes unmet. If any student is experiencing difficulty, please, and I've said this to my daughter who just finished college, my youngest son who's beginning college, ask for help. One of the biggest skills we can develop as adults, and I'm still struggling with it myself, ask for help. Don't be afraid. It just means that, because there are people who are hoping that you're going to walk in the door. And if together with something like this we get the word out, then that's a tremendous help as well.
Well, that's all the time we have for this interview, Dr. Bonahue. Thanks once again for being here today. It was a pleasure. We as students at Suffolk County Community College wish you the best of luck. And to my fellow Sharks, this is Dylan Strickland signing off. Until next time.
Thank you, Dylan. It's been a pleasure. Thank you very much.